This is where it all started. Just one rare flash screen S60R, no garage, no lift, just a kid, his tools, and frankly, his stubbornness. It hadn't ran in years, the paint was fading, the car was literally sinking into the dirt, and as far as I knew at the time, the engine was cooked. Still though, there was nothing I wanted more than to see this car back on the road and share the journey with you all. So, I did what any completely unqualified person with a broken Volvo would do. I started taking it apart. Through rain or shine, it didn't matter. And you know what? That strategy ended up working out in my favor because a few weeks later, we had a running Volvo S60R. And sure, it was running on 3 out of 5 cylinders, but at the time, I didn't care. The car actually moved under its own power, which at the time, this was not something I ever thought I would see. But it was time to tackle that misfire after all if I wanted to see this car on the road. So, now we're running on 5 cylinders, engine sounds as healthy as it could possibly be, but we broke down, and that's okay because, frankly, it made for more content. And what's that new content, you may ask? Well, of course, it's me running a compression test for the 15th time. You're welcome. Jokes aside though, I was extremely relieved that the car still ran, and it was just a matter of revising the timing yet again and fixing the issue that kept the timing from staying put. But remember when I said I was stubborn? Yeah, I'm also kind of impulsive, so naturally, one flash screen Volvo S60R becomes 2. And of course, after having fallen victim to starting yet another project before finishing my first one, the second flash screen S60R has arrived. Do I have a plan for it? No, not quite, but it's for the content, he tells himself. And after rationalizing and justifying my purchase by staring at the Atacama interior, it was time to actually get this car running. So, forcing the hood open and unplugging the MAF was all it took to get this car driving under its own power, and a jump from the Beamer. Now, after all of that, we now have 2 running Volvo S60Rs in our hands, and frankly, I'm running out of space, so it was time for a change. right, this is it. The new Silk Garage HQ. And I know it may not seem like much to most of you, but to me this is actually a pretty substantial accomplishment, and I'm very excited to have my own private and enclosed space to work on my cars because yeah, doing stuff outdoors here in the Central Florida heat is not exactly fun. But I'm very excited to see where this goes, and I can work with this. It looks pretty barren and depressing, but anyone who knows me in real life knows that I love a good project, and that's not exclusive to cars. So yeah, let's see where this takes us.